Hello, welcome to Board Deck and Dice. My name is Mark Monk, Taunton Hunk and King of the Slam Dunk. Today we are looking at Sun Tzu, and this review will be one where I say a lot of pronunciation of names wrong and speak with very bad grammar. Sun Tzu is a two-player area control game from Matago. And you start to see from this game the kind of production values that Matago have. The little plastic sculpts that you have for each army don't have to all be different, but there are various different ones. In future games like Comet, they will do different sculpts for the different colours. So what do we have? We have a map with 5 areas. Those 5 areas are listed on each edge, which represents a player. This is the blue side, this is the red side, and they're also listed on the ends. These annoying little things here tell you what score you will get for having a majority in that area at round 3, 6 and 9. 3, 6 and 9 are the only rounds where you'll score for your areas. When you get to the next round, you can spin this round, although it says the same on every side. It's just a way of keeping everyone colour-coded with which round you're on. During the course of the game, you will choose one special power card from the generals. If you want to, you will choose from some event cards, which you can then play through as a different way of playing to make it a bit more complicated. Your general cards give you a one-shot power that you can use, like starting the scoreboard one towards yourself. And your aim in the game is to get the score statue all the way to your end before round 9, or to have it further over to your end by the end of round 9. The way you do that is by playing cards from your hand. You'll have this deck of cards, you will shuffle them up and you will draw 6, deal out 6, and then you draw another 4. So you start with 10 cards in your hand, and they are various different things. They're numbered 1 to 10, and there are -1s, +1s, there's a plague card, pandemic card, +2. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at your cards and you're going to be playing them blind to one of the areas, and your opponent will be doing the same up here. They may play 3s, 2s. If you play a 1 to 6, you will get that back into your hand at the end. If you play any other card, a plus or minus card, a plague card, that will be out of the game for good. After you have laid down all the cards, you will reveal each one, and the person with least armies on the board gets to go first. So in this case, for Yin Yang, who knows if I've got that right, the blue player has 8, the red player has 5. The blue player would put 3 armies onto Yin Yang. Let's say I've played a 1 in Shu, and this guy has played a 3. He would get 2 armies in Chu. Chu, it's definitely wrong. So if we look, if this had been round 3, Chu would score 3, and Yin Yang would also score 3. But as the game goes on, these scores change. So Yin Yang will score 3 at round 3, 2 at round 6, and 3 at round 9. And when you get to a scoring round, you add up all your score, add up all the opponent's score, and the difference is how far this statue moves one way or the other. There are some special cards that let you play a -1 from the opponent's total, and this is a good example of when you might want to strategically do that. If whatever card he plays, you want him to play kind of a really high card and you play a -1, you would only lose 1 army, because that is the difference between your score, and he's lost that high card for the rest of the game. So there's a real strategy about when you use those high cards. That is it for the gameplay. What do I think of this game? I really like it. It's a 2-player area control game that is tight, that works well, and doesn't outstay its welcome. You can employ various different strategies. One game I had where I thought I was winning all the way through and I lost by 1 point. Another game, it got to round 5, the end of round 5, and I worked out how many points I needed to win. I think I was about there and I needed 8 points to win. So I thought I'd just brute force it with all my special cards. Came very close, but didn't account for the other guy's cards, and he played some good cards. And then I ended up not having those useful cards in the last 3 rounds, which was disastrous. There is a surprising amount of depth here. Plus, if you live in the UK, you can get this game for £10 from The Works, which is kind of a discount bookshop. For £10, this game is an absolute steal. Yes, the minis are a bit bendy, but apart from that, they're really good, and you can just use a bit of water with your fingers and bend them back. They didn't have to do minis, they could have done cubes or tokens or whatever. This one's trying to do the limbo here. Negative points. If you've seen my Board Game Vicar video, you will know that these things are absolutely rubbish. Why they couldn't just have had a flat tile laying there to give you the score, why it had to be these kind of pyramids, overproduced pyramids that don't stay together. Every time you get them out of the box, you have to kind of put the triangles back on. To be honest, I'm tempted to cut them down the middle and just use them like that, because they are not good design at all. The cards are great. The intimidation value on this factor on this one, there's a lot more to it than appears, but it is only 2-player. There's only two different decks of cards you use. You can make it more complicated. The intimidation factor didn't help with the rules not being the clearest. They're not terrible, but for ease of reading, they're not the clearest. And it took me a while to get this one to the table because of that, and because of all the moving parts, I guess, and looking at all the cards. And there's certain extra rules I didn't tell you on some of the cards, like if you play a 1, you get to draw 1 more card to choose for the next round. If you play a +2, you have to put a couple of armies into a reserve, which you then have to pay cards to get armies out of that reserve, and that sort of thing. So there is a slight intimidation factor, especially if you are new to gaming, but it's one that's worth persevering with, because for an area control game to work 2 players like this, I think is really, really good. It's tight, rules middle, but the fun you have and trying to work out and guess what your opponent's going to do is really good. You know they've played their 10 cards, so if you've got a 10 card, you've almost certainly going to win an area, but when do you play that? This is a great game. I highly recommend getting it, especially if you're in the UK and you have a Works nearby. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Mark Monk, Taunton Hunk and King of the Slam Dunk, and this has been Board, Deck and Dice.